Hi there. Now we're going to do lesson number 45. God is the mind with which I think. Today's idea holds the key to what your real thoughts are. Again, today's idea holds the key to what your real thoughts are. They are nothing that you think, just as nothing that you think you see is related to vision in any way. There is no relationship between what is real and what you think is real. Nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. So nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. Nothing that you think you see bears any resemblance to what vision will show you. So we're being told very clearly, we are not seeing what is real, we're not thinking real thoughts. So then what's going on here? Well, the ego uses vision when we look around outside of ourselves, and it uses the thoughts of our experiences from the past as blocks to the true thinking that comes from God, the true seeing, the true vision that can only come to us from God when God is the light with which we see. So paragraph 2, you think with the mind of God. Therefore, you share your thoughts with Him as He shares His with you. There's only one mind. They are the same thoughts. God's thoughts and our thoughts are actually the same thoughts because they are thought by the same mind. To share is to make alike or to make one. Nor do the thoughts you think with the mind of God leave your mind, because thoughts do not leave their source. Therefore, your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. So we are in the mind of God, thinking with God, because we're using God's mind. And because we use God's mind, the thoughts that are God's and ours are the same, and they never leave our mind because they cannot go outside of what is one and whole and eternally forever expanding. They are in your mind as well, where He is. So we're thinking with God. God is in our mind. We're in God's mind. Inside of that connected soup of consciousness where everything is mixed in, there we are. As you are part of His mind, so are your thoughts a part of His mind. Now, I want you to keep in mind that we're talking about the thoughts that are God's thoughts here. So the earlier comment to that, the thoughts that we have are not God's thoughts, those are the different ego minds or ego thoughts. Paragraph 3. Where then are your real thoughts? Today we will attempt to reach them. We will have to look for them in your mind because that is where they are. They must still be there because they cannot leave their source. So the thoughts that we've thought are always in our mind. What is thought by the mind of God is eternal, being part of creation. We are eternal because God thought us into being. Our thoughts are eternal because we thought them into being because we use God's mind. There's only one mind, period. Paragraph 4. Our 3 5-minute practice periods for today will take the same general form that we used in applying yesterday's idea. We will attempt to leave the unreal and seek for the real. We will deny the world in favor for the truth. We will not let the thoughts of the world hold us back. We will not let the beliefs of the world tell us that what God would have us do is impossible. Instead, we will try to recognize that what God would have us do is possible. This is really exciting. We're not going to let the ego thoughts get in the way of us doing what God knows is possible for us to do. And it's always going to be way bigger, grander, more amazing than anything our ego could think. Paragraph 5. We will also try to understand that only what God would have us do is what we want to do. This is really crucial. At some point, when you begin to trust the thoughts of God and can see how powerful, beautiful, magnificent, creative, joyful they are, you're going to only want to think with God. You're going to want to give up your own thinking. And we will also try to remember that we cannot fail in doing what He would have us do. There is every reason to feel confident that we will succeed today. It is the will of God. Paragraph 6. Begin the exercise for today by repeating the idea to yourself, closing your eyes as you do so. Then spend a fairly short period of time thinking a few relevant thoughts of your own, keeping the idea in mind. After you have added some 4 to 5 thoughts of your own to the idea, repeat it again and tell yourself gently, my real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them. So God is the mind with which I think. God is the mind with which I think. Joy is my birthright. Co-creation with God is fun. What I think with God happens in a fun and easy way. I am pure consciousness, eternal and formless. Then we are going to say, my real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them. So I was just finding my real thoughts. So sentence number 6 in paragraph 6. Then try to go past all the unreal thoughts that cover the truth in your mind and reach to the eternal. Paragraph 7. Under all the senseless thoughts and mad ideas with which you have cluttered up your mind are the thoughts that you thought with God in the beginning. So the thoughts that clutter our mind is, I got to get to the dentist. I've got to go pay the bills. There's not enough money to pay the bills. How do I get a raise? How do I get a lover? How do I get, when do I book this surgery? So-and-so cut me off in traffic. All of those are thoughts that are not real. They're blocks to our real thoughts. But because we believe these blocks are real, it takes us a while to train our mind to think with only what God knows. So this is a process. Sentence number 2 in paragraph 7. They are there in your mind now, completely unchanged, God's thoughts. Not only do they not leave our mind, but they're there and they haven't changed because they're always the same. What is God never changes. They will always be in your mind exactly as they always were. So what Jesus thought with God is available for us to think with God. That's why Jesus is giving us all this information. What Buddha thought with God, what Gandhi thought with God, what Lao Tzu thought with God, what all of those great saints and people who were truly connected thought with God are available to us because God thinks the same thoughts and shares them with the whole sonship. We either receive them or we block them. We block them with the ego thoughts. When we have my own thoughts, I'm no longer willing to think with God's thoughts. Everything you have thought since then will change, but the foundation on which it rests is wholly changeless. I know I have changed my thoughts drastically. I don't think about getting sick. I don't think about not enough money. I don't think about fear about my family, my children. I don't have thoughts of fear of death. I don't have thoughts of fear of what could happen to the country or the planet. I only know what is true. I have fearful thoughts that show up, but they're not those old habitual thoughts because I have faced those fears and they're not my reality anymore. Now, when a thought that is unlike God's comes in, I just let it go. So for example, a thought of, oh, I've got to make another video lesson. Well, that would be a fearful thought. That would block me from the joy. God's thought in me is, how wonderful it is that I get to make another Course in Miracles lesson. Which one do I get to play with today? Which one is going to impact those who hear it today? Why? Because I share one mind with you. So I'm sharing what Jesus shared with us. I'm sharing it with you, giving you my suggestions as Jesus has given us his. Why? Because I know that we're all one and we all want to get to the same place of freedom. So for me, it's joyful knowing that this is what I get to do. But my ego could sabotage me if I allowed it, but I don't. Why would I block myself from joy? I just can't do that to myself anymore. So now let's go to paragraph number 8. It is this foundation toward which the exercises for today are directed. The foundation of resting wholly in the changeless thoughts of God. Here is your mind joined with the mind of God. Here are your thoughts one with his. For this kind of practice, only one thing is necessary. Approach it as you would an altar dedicated in heaven to God the Father and to God the Son. We're approaching this, we're coming into our mind like it's an altar that we're dedicating to the holiest of holiest. And to us, the sons and daughters of the Creator, we're meeting at an altar where we are going to receive our truth and let go of what is not true. For such is the place you're trying to reach. When we enter all the way into our mind, we're really reaching God's altar. That is where God has placed its gifts. And we got to go in there willingly. So we got to swim past what is not true, swim past all those obstacles, fear-based thoughts, judgments, resentments, jealousy. We got to move past that, pride, especially pride, depression, unhappiness, fear. We got to move past that. Keep swimming, keep swimming, keep swimming below the surface of the noise in the head. Go to the depths where you experience yourself as a presence of awareness. As a presence of awareness, you recognize that God is in our mind, and then we enter into the holiest of places, the altar that God has placed in our mind, the place where all infinite possibilities exist. So sentence number 6, paragraph 8, you will probably be unable as yet to recognize how high you are trying to go. We have no idea how magical it is where we're going. Yet, even with the little understanding you have already gained, you should be able to remind yourself that this is no idle game, but an exercise in holiness and an attempt to reach the kingdom of heaven that is within, that Jesus came to teach us 2,000 years ago, that the kingdom of heaven was within. But those who didn't believe that, those who were controlling us from coming inside, kept us looking for it outside somewhere, or told us it was inside, but it wasn't. They couldn't give us a path like this so clearly because they didn't know it. Anybody who knows this path would be teaching exactly as Jesus taught. Remarkable, amazing, amazing. Paragraph number 9. In the shorter exercise periods for today, try to remember how important it is to you to understand the holiness of the mind that thinks with God. Knowing that my mind thinks with God, I keep it as clear of ego debris as possible. I have sacred moments where I enter into my contemplation time, my meditation time, whatever you want to call it, my silence. When I enter into that silence inside, I know I'm going to a holy place. It's like an appointment to meet God for me, which is why I'm never, ever, ever upset, never complain when I have idle time, when I don't have something to do or I wake up in the middle of the night. I know what I want to do. I want to feel God inside of me. So if I'm waiting for an appointment, somebody's running late, somebody misses a call with me, I never complain. That's just an opportunity for me to have more time with the Creator. Why? Because I know where the Creator is right inside of me. I have access to it all the time. So sentence number 2, paragraph 9. Take a minute or two as you repeat the idea throughout the day to appreciate your mind's holiness. Stand aside, however briefly, from all thoughts that are unworthy of Him whose host you are. Why, if you're going to host the holiest of holiest in your mind, will you entertain anything that is less than worthy of the presence of what is love? And thank Him for the thoughts He is thinking with you. Every time I think, I am magnificent, I am beloved, I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am creative, I am capable, I am abundant, I am wellness, I am whole, I am healed, I am joy, I am love. I know I'm thinking with God. In that moment, my God, yes, my mind and God's have merged and I get to think with God, which is why it feels so good. Those very thoughts used to feel very bad before because I wasn't thinking with God, I was thinking with the ego. The ego would say, how can you think you're God? When I've been taught my whole life, not only was I not that, but I was too sinful and too dirty to ever achieve being like Jesus, who was the only Son of God, let alone then being like God. So many obstacles were placed before me, and I just had to choose to perceive things differently. I had to choose to let go of those obstacles and choose to think with God. This process is well worth it, but you got to stick to it. You got to be vigilant for only the kingdom. So this concludes this lesson number 45. Thanks a bunch, and I'll see you in the next lesson.